Gorgo.
ShinRobjira.
Taking a look at this utterly magnificent, colorful, and shiny box, we are going to see some beautiful artwork from that of Matt Frank adorning it, simply fantastic. And despite the box saying Gorgo Legacy, it's acting a bit more as a billboard for Titanic Creations' new graphic novel coming out, Gorgo Legacy, which despite what you see on the box is not meant to represent how the figure should look, as also on the box, it states that this figure is a tribute to that of Steve Ditko's run of Gorgo, where Gorgo was all green. Legends supporting legends, let's go. But now I do think it is time to take a look at paint and detailing on the baby. Despite being such a small little guy, Titanic Creations did a damn fine job on this. It actually feels like some love and attention was put towards little Gorgo, and he wasn't just this half-assed inclusion. Loving the variations of greens on this guy, all the way to the tip of the tail too, man. That's how you make a little guy look great. And the nice, tiny, minute details on his skin, be it on his thighs, his arms, his neck, even his head. Little Gorgo feet, they're gonna have their nails painted, including the Duke claws, if that's what they're even called on a creature like this. Just look at the musculatures on those legs. Loving the very, very obvious detailing on the chest and crotch, moving into the arms. He's got a goofy little grin. He's a happy guy. I think this minifigure is awesome. It's nice that it represents something very integral to the plot of the film, and yeah, solid star in terms of paint and details. Time for big boy. Will there be a supersized Titanic Creations Ogre? Maybe? Who am I kidding? I probably couldn't afford it. I love the color scheme that's being put on display here. If you follow the channel somewhat closely, you know that I love me my alternate color variants. Whether they're based on something or not, I'm kind of all there for it, and while I did want to pre-order the original version of Gorgo, I was broke. But seeing the magnificence of this comic book version Gorgo, oh my god, the greens. They're everywhere. And that almost frosted looking highlighting on the skin, it's not just glare or anything like that, that's actual paint, and it looks friggin' awesome. Oh yeah, it was very hard not to gush when this figure finally came out of the box. I love the way that these yellows are at the roots of the toenails while the rest of them are this cooler color. I just love this jolly green kaiju giant. He's so damn good looking. In terms of paint, the only area that I can offer up some constructive criticism on is going to be the teeth. They're kind of bunched up. Not so much in the sculpt, it's more so in the paint. And while I very much love just how small and sharp those teeth are on the bottom row, and that's mostly going to be with the upper row of teeth on the side over here. That's really only like where the paint bunches up. The paint does kind of trail off between white and yellow on the lower jaw with these magnificent tiny teeth over here. Okay, maybe the front row looks a little bunchy up too. This is what it looks like when you haven't been to the dentist in 5 years and you've got plaque buildup that can weigh down a small scale. I really do like the detailing on the tongue though. I especially love that it's a different color from the rest of the mouth innards. As you can see here with some nice roof of mouth detail, the tongue will be brighter. Talk about a bright idea. Don't worry, I'll myself real good for that one. All throughout the figure's body, we are going to get this lovely darker shade of green to further accentuate on a lot of the details present. You'll also see a bit of that on the fingers as they move into the claws over here. And this thing just looks top notch. I think Titanic Creations really hit the ground running with their first ever articulated figure. Granted, they knew what they were doing paint-wise as they had released figures before this with some utterly lovely looking paint apps, so they knew what they were getting themselves into when it came to paint and detail. I love how this figure looks. From the top of its head, through its neck, chest, thighs, and toes, this is a beautiful, beautiful, and vibrant looking figure. Along with the little guy, I am going to give Gorgo 2 solid stars in terms of paint and detail, with really only one complaint area, that being the teeth. And Good stuff there, Titanic Creations. Now, some measurements. Alrighty, Gorgo will be standing at just under 6 inches tall. I tried to get the legs as fully extended as possible to get a proper measurement out of this. And taking a closer look, Mini Gorgo, Baby Gorgo, will be standing at just under 2 inches tall. Shokugan, Movie, King, NECA, Sham, CCP. Let's get this articulation station up and running, and the minifigure is not articulated at all. Come on, you knew that. At the head, we will be able to look up rather friggin' far without the help of the neck. Fire. And then we can move it right back down to a neutral site without the help of the neck, so Gorgo isn't going to be looking down without the help of the neck. But on its own ball joint, you can get Gorgo's head to tilt up, down, all around, full bohemian swivel, and that in and of itself is very much praiseworthy. At the neck, we're gonna get a swivel. I do believe this is a ball joint because you can get the neck to jut out a little bit and then just slide right back into place. It doesn't exactly move up and down, though. It does feel like it can cradle from left to right, though, but I gotta use force, and I don't want to break this. It's only limited to 500 copies, something like that. But yes, it can indeed swivel. At the shoulders up here, you will be able to swivel all the way around, bend in, bend out. Here's what the arms look like at Gorgo's side, and then bent outward. Nice wide hinge going on here. Gonna have a bend at the elbow, and indeed, a swivel. We've got one of those mystical joints over here which can bend in and out, or technically out and in, as well as give us a swivel. If you can manage to shift the wrist joint, you can get it moving from side to side, but I don't feel like doing that. At the torso over here, we will get a swivel. And I do believe, as well as a very minimal rocking back and forth, which does lend to posability, just not too much. At the thighs over here, you can move the legs out pretty decently and then right back in. They too can swivel all the way around. We'll get a nice bend at the knee and then bend out. We'll also get a full swivel at the knee as well. A nice swivel at the foot, a very loose swivel at the foot, and a bend in and out at the toes. We will get a bend in and then right back out at the ankle over here, but the connection is loose between my foot and shin over here, so this thing likes to go every which friggin' way, and I am a bit worried about the stability of this, so I don't like messing with the ankles too much. But movement is indeed possible. I do believe if you shift this joint to the side, of course, now it doesn't want to do that after I complain about it. Okay. I think, ever so gently, you can get a pivot out of this foot, aiding in some real riveting, pivoting-looking poses. I swear, with all the bad dad jokes I'd make, you'd think I was married with 2 kids. Moving on to the final bit of articulation, that being this tail, and watch. It doesn't limp. Sweet Jesus. Yeah, Titanic Creations kind of solved the Millennium Puzzle for that of multi-segmented tails. It is a bit restricted when you try and get a curve out of it, and that happens. But not only is that an easy fix, this is an easy pose, and that's a pretty damn good curve. Adding to my rather impressed nature with everything that Titanic Creations has accomplished with this here figure. As posability-wise, it's like NECA are back. I feel like I can get this figure into a good amount of poses. It looks great. It's vibrant. The only downside being the ankles are so loose, and that can sometimes make posing a little bit more of a struggle. But this figure did, in fact, show up on a day where it was 95 degrees and it was baking out in the friggin' sun. The fact that this is still a figure amazes me. So I'll lend a little bit of blame to the elements there. But I love this thing. I've had a hard time putting it down since I got it in, and to say I'm anything but impressed would be a lie. Titanic Creations, Gorgugus over here, is... It sold me on everything the company is doing right now. Unfortunately, my YouTube check didn't clear until after the Yungaris were taken off the market. But hey, I'll catch the comic book version, DVD color version, cereal box, super awesome version of Yungari whenever, if ever that comes out. Titanic Creations, my ball is in your court. give it back. I'm hyped. Are you all hyped? Did any of you get this or the original Gorgo? Let me know in the comment section down below. Check out my social media, Patreon, $1 a month, access to videos like this early. And when next we meet, 12-inch Bandai America, Godzilla 2014. He's not 12 inches tall.